Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, the water of Baal called Kadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach this truth, which I believe through the Holy Scriptures, line up with prophecy. Prophecy is 100% of the truth. I'm your brother Malakama, and it's going to do a short lesson today. And it's going to come out of the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. And still talking about end-time prophecies, preparing ourselves for things that's soon to come. Lord willing, it's like yesterday. That we get the hell up out of this wicked-ass kingdom, man. You see right now all the abominations and things that's going on, especially in the music. The stuff that they push on our kids, and Shalaki. And Jake, man, is just as evil as ever, man. Jake has just become just as wicked, more wicked than these heathens who oppress us, man. And so the only way the Lord is going to be able to fix that is by bringing the fire. And he's going to have to destroy 2/3 of our Jake on his side and then bring them back in the kingdom on the other side. So we're going to start off with 2nd Esdras chapter. We will kind of jump through, but most of it, man, is it's a lot of good material, man. It's a lot of meat on the bones. In 2nd Esdras 15. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. And prophecy is saying before something is going to happen. That's anybody who speaks something that's going to happen prior to us happening, that's prophesying. Which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So those who don't want to believe, they hear this word, they don't want to believe that we're the Israelites, or if they do believe that we're the Israelites, they don't want to do what the Lord has commanded them to do, because really you don't believe that, you don't believe in Yahweh Shai. You don't believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That means you're not going to follow and do what he's asked you to do. Because you really have faith, you would do what the Lord has required us to do, and follow his laws, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability, to read, to study, to show yourself approved, put yourself through the fire, man, to the test. It's a lot more to just knowing that you're an Israelite. Because you have faith in the Lord, man, you would take the mantle, man, and do what's required of you to do. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So all these things are coming, man. We're in the last days, man. We're in these times that have been prophesied to happen from the beginning. So the Lord said he's going to bring the sword, and that sword comes in many different, forms, man. Another part of the sword is what's created in these laboratories, man. These plagues that's being brought about, that's being unleashed on the people. That's a form of a sword, man. It's a biological weapon. Yeah, psychological weapons as part of a sword, man. Part of the Esau sword. Them putting out this crap, this wicked ass degenerate music that they pushing on our youth, man. That's another form of a sword, because that is nothing but set up for death and destruction. That's part of his sword, man. It says sword, famine, death, and destruction. So we got the famine. You talk about food shortages. They constantly bring that up, and they constantly attacking the food supply. They creating these genetically grown foods that's in laboratories, that's set to destroy you. That's part of Esau Edom's sword, man. Death and destruction. And so much death that's going on here on the earth, man. So prepare yourself, like I say. Yeah, you notice during these times, man, you're starting to go to more and more funerals. Very seldom do you find yourself now going to a wedding. Shit's been reversed. One time, I remember in times past, man, you always find yourself going to somebody's wedding. Hearing about somebody getting married, or people attaching themselves. Now you find there's a funeral going on 2 or 3 times, during a week. It's going to be more death. More of these plagues is going to befall upon our people. And so prepare yourselves, man, because in these coming days to come, especially for this year is over with, man, ain't no telling what the hell this devil is going to unleash on our people. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. And mainly it's coming out of Babylon the Great, man. That's that great virus that's pushing this filth, garbage, and wickedness upon all over the world. Now you go over in Africa right now, they have this thing now where they're sanctioning certain parts of Africa because they won't submit to the will of the beast by allowing sodomy to grow in their land. A lot of those African nations that stood up, and a lot of them are Israelites, because we have a lot of our people that's still over there in Africa, and mainly in the interior parts of Africa, like in Ghana and those places, on the western part of Africa. And they're rejecting the beast, man. They said no, they don't want to have that. So what did Babylon say? We're going to put sanctions on you till you submit and allow these filthy, wild things that are against God to be able to manifest in your nation. That goes to tell you who's the beast is, man. Who's that whore that sits upon the beast with that golden cup trying to pollute the whole world. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore said the Lord, talking about Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them to those things, in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and the righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And who are the ones that's complaining? Mainly the men of Israel, man. We crying out to the Lord, man, to come destroy this wicked place, man. Get us up out of here. Come deliver your saints, man, up out of here, Because it's not going to get any better, man. It's just going to continue to get worse. It's going to continue to downgrade. And these abominations are going to be continually be pushed. And our people, 2/3 of our people, will continue to be, they're going to eat it up, man. I was watching the video of the girls, Sukiana and something red or whatever. Dirty red, you might as well call it, because it's filthy, man. It's this wicked as hell. And I was reading through the comments, you would think that people would be speaking out against it. But people are condoning that type of that filth, man, that garbage, man. That shit's mainly being pushed, and it's like a virus that's going to spread throughout the whole world, man. They push this shit. Who's pushing it? The wicked elites at the top, man. They the one that fund this type of music. They the one that fund this debauchery, and mainly it's pointed at our people, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. And I often say, man, sin is our kryptonite. That's what makes us mortal, man. Anytime we're embellishing all this sin that they pushing on us, man, that's our kryptonite. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. When we're talking about Egypt, we're talking about modern day Egypt. This place here is modern day Egypt. This is our captivity, as it once was in the old Egypt when we were under their bondage. But these are the modern day Egyptians, because one thing about Babylon the Great, she takes on all the wicked cultures of these other nations that were before, man. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. So this happened one time before in Egypt. They're not talking about the old Egypt now. They're talking about the new Egypt, talking about here in Babylon. As before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten. the plague and the punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, their seed shall fail there through the blasting of the hail and with fearful constellation. Woe to the world of them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, for one people shall stand up and fight against another, and sword in their hands. And it's talking about Egyptians against Egyptians, man, talking about, you see now, a lot of these Edomites are even going against each other, man. You got the Democrats and the Republicans, you got, two different sides, really the same thing. But the Lord has put a spirit here in Babylon the Great, where you got these groups are factioning against each other. He's created he created contention between these two groups, man. And all that shit's gonna be all hell. It's gonna break out. It's gonna break loose, man. You have those in the far right against the far left, man, and they have their weapons of war, and the Lord's gonna unleash, turn them loose, before all said is done. And you can see it's building up. You can see the tension is steady building up, man, amongst these nations. And there shall be a sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And one thing you see now, man, a lot of people that's kind of in the truthers, they looking and they're seeing how President Sleepy Joe, was, and a lot of them are standing up against it, man. They say he's kind of coming after even his own people. See, one thing about the Edomites, they don't care about what happened to you, Jace, but he just want to get it back to what it used to be. Right now, he is under attack. It was okay back when it was just happening to us, when we was going through our times of tribulation, when they was putting the hell on us. But now that these upper elites are going after even his own people, man, they now they want to stand up. Now they want to, stand up against the government. They want to, they want to speak out. They wanted to go back to where it was, but they was on top, continually ruling, and we were constantly being pushed to the bottom. But one thing about this devil, man, especially the ones at the top, they don't give a damn about their own people, really. Just so that he can achieve, For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So right now, you hear this thing where they say "fuck Joe Biden," and they chant that out. And when it was happening to us, it was not a problem. We should have pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps, and they had no sympathy for us. But now that the shoe is on the other foot, and they catching hell too, the inflation, they getting beat down, they can't afford to live lavishly like they once did. Now they crying out, Now they fleeing. You see a lot of them fleeing, leaving the country, going to these other worlds, man, these other parts of the country, trying to live, because their money doesn't suffice back there in Babylon the Great anymore. It was okay when we were ones that held, with our feet held to the fire, man. They was punishing us and redlining us into certain neighborhoods, and unable to get loans, and get only able to get predatory loans, and you go being in food deserts and all that type of shit. But now this devil done unleashed on his own people, they're crying out. And that's why it's creating that Egyptian against Egyptian, man. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And they're going to pretty much lock down these cities, man. We coming right back into it again. They talking about another virus is out there. It won't be long. They're gonna lock everything down. And this time, while everything's locked down, he's gonna definitely bring in his draconian laws, man. These harsh laws that's going to be take away more of your rights. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Talking about a sword, it could be the modern day gun, It's not really talking about a literal sword, but these modern long guns, these handguns, or whatever it may be, and spoil their goods, which because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. So they're going to kick in your doors, come in, take all your food, all your provisions, all those ones that's been prepping, a lot of them, they don't realize, and they're going to be prepping for other people, because they're going to be, gangs of people out here, as you see in a lot of these movies. They're going to come out here, they're going to take whatever, they can't get. They're going to take it. Behold, saith God, Yahweh, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, Lebanus, and turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do, yet this day unto my chosen, so will I also, and recompense in their bosom, thus saith the Lord God. My right hand shall not spare the sinners, my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. I'm going to drop down to verse 24. Woe unto them that sin and keep not my commandments, said the Lord. So the Lord is those who continue to sin, not call upon the name of the Lord, man. The Lord is going to turn them over to be destroyed, man. However it may be. Verse 27, still in 2nd Esdras 15, verse 27. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For Yahweh shall not deliver you, because you have sinned. For Yahweh shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. I'm going to drop all the way down to verse 37. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. That's when the Lord comes to that big fathership, man, and crack them skies, man. That's automatically going to put all type of fear, because they know they're not going to have anything that's going to be able to match up, with that chariot, man. And not to mention the thousands of other chariots that's going to be coming with it, with the armada. And then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north, and another part from the west. And a strong wind shall arise from the east, and shall open it. And the cloud which he raises up in wrath, talking about the cloud, that's talking about the chariot. It comes in many different forms, like a cloud or either a star. And the star stirred to cause fear towards the east, and west wind shall be destroyed. And these ships that's coming, man, they're coming for battle, man. That's why the Lord said it's only going to take 1 hour, man, for him to take this thing over. The great and mighty clouds shall be puffed up, or full of wrath, and the star, and they may take all earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place and horrible star. To them it's going to be horrible, man. That's going to be that great dread, man. But for us, it's going to be our redemption, our deliverance. Verse 44, they shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust of the smoke go up into the heaven, and all they that about her shall bewail her. So once Babylon the Great is destroyed, all these other nations are going to bewail her, man, because all of them have made merchandise and made money with her, how, they made through trading. Verse 49, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, the pestilence, to waste thy houses, and destruction and death. And the glory of the power shall be dried up as a flower, and heat shall arise that is sent over there. And part of that heat is going to be them ICBM missiles, man, that all these other nations are going to unleash on the beast, man, because, she's going to be unveiled for who she is, man. All the wickedness that she caused all over the earth, even her allies is going to turn against her, man, and they all going to send weapons over here, weapons of destruction. Talking them ICBM nuclear missiles, man. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over there. Verse 53. If thou hast not always slain my chosen, exalted the stroke of thine hands, and saying over their dead when thou hast drunken. Verse 56. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, said the Lord, even so shall God, Yahweh, do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. So all the hell and destruction that she put on us, the Lord is going to reverse and put back on this devil, man. Thy children shall die of hunger, thou shalt fall through the sword. The city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword of the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger and bread and thirst of water. And same thing they did to us when they were the Romans and marched in on our homeland and murdered, robbed, and butchered us in our homeland, man. Same thing's going to happen to them. They starved us out, They had us to the point that we were eating our own kids, and and the remnant that did escape and fled into to the middle parts of Africa, man. And thou shalt cast down by them as stubble, and they shall be unto thee as a fire, and shall consume thee, and thy cities, and thy land, and thy mountains, and thy wood, and thy fruitful trees shall burn up with fire. The children shall carry away captives, and look upon what thou hast, shall spoil it, and man, the beauty of thy face. There's something else I wanted to pull up. I thought I had it in that verse, but Shalak, it's 2nd Esdras chapter verse 16. So I'm going to grab a little bit off the meat off the bones in 2nd Esdras chapter verse 16. 2nd Esdras 16 verse 12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea arises up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also. Therefore the Lord Yahweh, and before the glory of his power. For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And what are those arrows that it's talking about, that's speaking of in 2nd Esdras 16? The arrows is of long-range ICBM nuclear warheads, man. You have North Korea, you talk about Iran, they all have nuclear capabilities. You have China, Russia, and then not to mention all these other nations that's going to turn their back on the beast, man. They're going to come after the beast also, because, look at the hell that's going on over in Europe right now, because part of it is due to the beast, man. She went over there and bombed the Russia had a pipeline that was feeding Europe, and we went over there and bombed that pipeline so that we can start sending oil over there to Europe, and so the prices went up, inflation went up. The people over there complaining, man, they crying out, because all this beast has done is just made things, more complicated, more difficult for the Europeans over there. But the Lord has put it into this beast to do that, man. That's all part of the prophecy. Verse 17, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils that shall I do when these evils shall come. Behold, famine and plague, tribulations, anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So all these things are sent by the Lord, man, by Yahweh, by Shem, Yahweh Shai. Verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evil grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right now, the inflation, even though inflation is going up, we're still able to go out here and, go to these fast food places and buy, stuff kind of at a relatively cheap price. But it's going to get to a point where inflation is going to skyrocket. And just being able to buy eggs and a loaf of bread, man, it's going to be almost like a week's worth of paycheck, That's what the Lord is going to create, that type of scenario. Really Esau Edom, but the Lord is putting it in this devil's mind to do that, to create that type of environment. And all that's really pretty much to force our people to submit, to force them into the MOTB, to be able to receive that digital mark of all in order to be able to eat, buy, or sell, Verse 40. Well, let me go back, Shalaki, let me go back up. I start off at verse 38, come on down through 40. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains which the child cometh forth, they slack not in moment. Same way it is now that the times come, man. You see a lot of tribulation things going on. That's going to be the great pains, man. Before this thing's going to give birth, to a new kingdom. A lot of pain and destruction. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, my word, make you ready for thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So Lord's telling you, prepare to leave everything that you have behind, man. Even your houses, your cars, your homes. Separate yourselves from your families that don't believe, that are not believers. You might have to pretty much get a what they call like a bug out bag and just be as a pilgrim, take off, wherever the Lord may send you. Almost like the movie The Book of Eli, where he pretty much, wherever the Lord sent him through the Spirit, that's where we may have to be till the Lord come and gather us up. We are the elect. The Lord will. We remain in this truth, man, and don't bow down and don't give in, man. Verse 73, still in 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. That's part of the tribulations that we're going through now, but even more so, during this time when all hell is going to break loose, because people are going to see that the Lord of men are going to be doing, they're going to be okay, in good case. We're going to have things. We're not going to be out here starving. The Lord's going to provide for us, man. That's why I say in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, because they're going to see who the Lord's men are, man. They're going to know who the Lord chosen is, and they're going to come to you. These women that rejected you in times past, they're going to come to you and ask to be called by your name, man. We're going to be stand out amongst the people. They're going to know that, we are the Lord's chosen. Lord will, we are the elect. Verse 76, and the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, said the Lord God. So we got to keep these laws, statutes, commandments. Don't listen to these church house pastors, these pork chop pastors that's lying to the people, telling them that, the Lord came back and we don't have to follow these laws, statutes, commandments anymore, man. Don't believe that falsehood, man. They're leading you straight to death. And the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, said the Lord God, Yahweh. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. So don't get to the point where you say, man, I can't keep these laws, I keep sinning, I keep going off. Let that weigh you down when you pull yourself up out of this truth, man, because, it's a trial, man. It's a test that we go through, man. We have to continue to pull ourselves up, man. We have to gird up our loins, man, and get back out there and do it again. Keep trying it again, man. Till the Lord totally rejects you if it's meant to. But we have to keep begging for mercy, man. Keep trying. He knows our heart, man. So let not your iniquities lift up themselves, man. So don't dwell on every time you fail, every time you make a mistake, man. Don't dwell on that shit. Get your ass up out of bed, man, and fight that good fight, man. Woe be to them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man's child may travel through. It is left undressed and is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. So we don't want to be destroyed like these heathens, man, and like the wicked 2/3 of our people. So we have to continue to fight, continue to prepare ourselves, man. Stay strong in this truth. Pray to the Lord, man, continuously, man. Continue to read. Stay diligent. So I want to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, for giving us this truth. I'm your brother Malakaman. I pray this lesson was edifying. With that, say shalom.